We may laugh at the movies that depict jailbreaks by calling it unrealistic. How can a man escape from prison so easily? The truth is that most of those stories are inspired from real-life incidences. Many criminals around the world have used very innovative ideas to escape prisons. Some of them are ridiculous and some of them are downright genius. Number 5. Michel Vaujour. Michel Vaujour has used brilliant everyday objects as means to escape. He once used a very old piece of cheese so as a mold for prison keys. He used a bar of soap to scare police officers by carving it into a gun. He then made his wife take flying lessons when he was in prison and asked her to come to the prison in a helicopter so that he could escape. He painted oranges so that they looked like grenades and scared the guards shitless. Then he got to the roof and escaped on the helicopter like a true boss. Number 4. Sobibor Death Camp. Remember the Inglourious Bastards? This story is similar to that. Sobibor concentration camp was one of the many concentration camps the Nazis ran throughout their territories to execute Jews. Sobibor was located in Ukraine and hence had many Ukrainian guards too. Alexander Sasha Pachursky, a Russian prisoner who was an officer in the Russian army, gathered the rest of the prisoners and planned to kill every Nazi officer in the camp. He theorized that killing the Nazis would cripple the Ukrainian guards because they would have no chain of command to listen to. He recruited every one of the prisoners and all of them one day, suddenly out of the blue, started killing the Nazi soldiers in the camp. They succeeded and it became one of the most famous escapes where almost 400 prisoners escaped the Sobibor concentration camp. Number 3. Vasilis Paliokostas. We all know that prisoners get exercise time outside in a small exercise yard. Vasilis asked his brother to land a freaking helicopter on the exercise yard of the prison he was in. He escaped in the most ridiculous fashion ever. They were captured 2 years later and then pulled the same stunt again and escaped in another helicopter. They still haven't been captured by the Greek authorities. Number 2. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was one of the most notorious serial killers in America's history. When he was finally arrested after killing almost 30 people, he was given the due privilege of being tried in court. Ted Bundy, being very smart, appointed himself as his lawyer. In America, you have the right to represent yourself in the court of law, which is a basic right. Ted did this for a very smart reason. By representing himself, he got all the privileges of a lawyer. That means he was not put in chains and shackles. This is when Ted Bundy did the unbelievable. He requested to go to the library to read up on some law because he was representing himself. And then, when he was in the library, he just jumped off from the window to the ground below and escaped. He was captured and put in jail, and guess what? He escaped again, this time through the ceiling. He was recaptured and the government thought enough is enough and executed him. Number 1. Frank Abagnale. We all know the story of Frank Abagnale from Catch Me If You Can. When he was caught and sentenced to prison for 12 years, the police officer who was escorting him forgot the official papers that are used to put the criminal inside. Frank Abagnale pounced on this opportunity and convinced the guards that he was actually an undercover inspector who was on a surprise visit. If you remember the movie, Frank Abagnale was educated, clean, and well-mannered. And guess what? He walked right out of this situation to freedom.